new video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy to have you here, happy to have myself here again so soon. So today, clearly from the title, because it's always obvious, we will be doing a book haul, and specifically it will mostly be like a 2022 book haul, but also like some books that I've bought pre-2022 that I have not mentioned on my channel because I have been away a while. So yeah, I haven't mentioned what my name is. My name is Aria, and yeah, let's just dive into it. So I do have quite the plethora of books in front of me, so buckle up for a long video, and without any further delays, I'm just gonna dive into it. Apologies if the camera angle has shifted, but I got a call from my mom, so I had to answer. Now let's actually dive into this stuff. So I'm gonna start with some series just to get them out of the way. Many of them I have not read, so please do not judge me. I have problems. I think that has been established. The first series that I have acquired, I believe I have hauled the first book at some point, but I don't even remember at this point. So I'm just gonna haul it again. So it is actually the, I don't know what the series is called, but the first book is Sabriel by Garth Nix, and the cover is gorgeous. So this is book number 1. Then we have Lyrael, I think, also by Garth Nix, obviously. Again, the cover is stunning. Next, we have Abhorsen, the third book in the series, I believe. Again, all the covers are just absolutely breathtaking. And then I am actually missing the fourth book in the series. Like, whenever I go into the store, they just never have it, so I just haven't got my hands on it yet, but I will. And then next up we have the prequel, Clariel, the green one, honestly my favorite because I love green. And then the last one I have is like a collection of stories from the world, and it's called Across the Wall, also by Garth Nix. So haven't read this yet. I frankly have no idea what it's about. I just know that it has something to do with angels, and yeah, that's it. I've actually been wanting to get into some Garth Nix, and this is like the one series that's been calling to me of his, so I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but it's going to happen. The next series that I have acquired in the past months is none other than Dune. So as probably everyone knows, the movie adaptation came out recently. Well, not the first one, but the newer one. And I got obsessed. I think obsessed is an understatement. Like, absolutely and completely obsessed with that movie. So I literally immediately went online after watching the movie 3 times at the cinema, and honestly I would have watched it more times if I could have, but unfortunately I didn't have the time. But yeah, I immediately went online and found these specific editions. I think these are the US mass market paperbacks, and let me tell you, they are pretty, but they are only sold in the US, not in the UK. The UK doesn't have these. So I actually bought these from America because I have problems, but I hate the UK covers. So obsessed with the covers, absolutely love them. I want to read these so badly, but I want to get through more young adult books from my TBR before I actually dive into this massive series. But yeah, I guess I'm just gonna like show them off to you. So first we have Dune, then there's Dune Messiah, then we have Children of Dune, then God Emperor of Dune, the next one is Heretics of Dune, and last but not least we have Chapter House Dune. And all of these are obviously by Frank Herbert, and actually this is where he technically ended the series, but I know that his 2 sons, I believe, essentially picked up the story and wrote like a bunch of other books set in the same world. So whenever I get to these, after I read them, I will continue reading like the other books in the Dune world. There's quite a few of them, and I'm honestly very excited. The next series that I have here to haul for you is like an epic fantasy. And if you've watched my previous video, you might know, you might suspect which series I'm talking about, but I shall keep you in suspense no more. So the series that I'm talking about is Wheel of Time, and this is not even all the books. I am just slowly acquiring them because there's like 14 books in this series, and that is a crazy amount of books for a series to have. But honestly, I am very excited to see like where this series is going to take me, because I have read the first book and wasn't crazy about it, but the potential is there and I can taste it and I know it's gonna be great. So in that big stack that I just showed you, I don't have the first book because I do believe I've hauled that. Maybe. I don't know why I didn't bring the first book, but I'm not gonna get up now and take it. So I'm just gonna show you all the other books that I have in the series. So I have first the prequel, which is called New Spring, and the covers of these are absolutely gorgeous, and when you put the spines together they like align and make a pretty picture, which I love. That is genius. More series should do that, please, thank you. And then I have books 2 to 6. So the second book in the series is called The Great Hunt. I think this is like one of my favorite covers because again it's green, so I'm predictable like that. Book
1 hour later.
That was The Mailman, and I'm back again. So where was I? Yes. The third book in this series is called The Dragon Reborn. Again, very stunning cover. Honestly, all of the covers in this series are absolutely gorgeous and unique in their own way, but also like they just kind of go together. So fourth book is called The Shadow Rising. The fifth one is called The Fires of Heaven. Yeah, The Fires of Heaven. And the last one that I own is the sixth one, and that is called Lord of Chaos. And all of these are by Robert Jordan. So yeah, very excited to keep on reading this series and see where it takes me. I don't know when I'm gonna finish this. I think it's gonna take me like 10 years to read the whole series. I'm not even joking, like 10 years. But it takes however long it takes. And I do believe that the last series I have to show off for today is the Jade City series, whatever it's called, by Fonda Lee. So the editions that I have here are the absolutely gorgeous Illumicrate editions. So we have here first Jade City, which is book number 1. Then I believe book number 2 is Jade War. Again, absolutely beautiful, and it matches my hair, which we love something that's matching. I'm all about the aesthetics. And book 3, which I believe is the conclusion to the trilogy, is Jade Legacy, and again they're all by Fonda Lee. So this series, I believe it's like set in a reimagining possibly of Shanghai, and it has to do with like mafia, and there's something to do with like the stone jade and like people that consume it or something like that. If you consume jade, you get like magical powers, and there is like a rivalry between two of like the mafia something families. I don't know, maybe I'm just completely wrong here because I tend to not like really focus on like what a book is about. The less I know the better. So this is like vaguely what I know about the series, and honestly it sounds fantastic and I cannot wait to read these.
2 hours later.
And yeah, interrupted for the third time today by another mailman. So yeah, maybe I'm just not meant to film this video, but I'm just gonna keep going anyways. And if I get interrupted for the fourth time, then that's just it. I don't know, we shall see. Where was I? I knew I wanted to say something, but it's gone now. It's never gonna come back. So I guess we just keep on hauling books. So I think that was it for the series, and now let's just dive into like sequels slash just standalone books that I have acquired from various places. Mostly just me buying books like a crazy person, as if my life depends on it. But yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. Next up, we have Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. This one I got from Fairy Loot, I believe. I think this was the November book. So I've had this for a while, but clearly I've been gone a while, so I don't believe I've hauled it, and if I did, oh well. It doesn't hurt to look at it a second time because it is gorgeous. And I also have like a standard hardback of this because they're both beautiful in their own unique ways. So why the hell not? Now, you might think, what is this book about? Well, let me tell you, I have no idea. Clearly, it's like Asian inspired. I know a lot of people tend to like not compare it to, but say that if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, you're gonna love this. And that is like, yes, please. I absolutely love, and that is an understatement, but I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I live and breathe that show, and the sequel, Korra, like nothing can surpass that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So clearly I'm into it, and if anything is even remotely compared to that, I will want to read it. So yeah, definitely want to read this one. The next book on the stack is The Angel of the Crows by Katherine Addison. So this one, I believe it is sort of like a Sherlock Holmes reimagining or maybe retelling or like inspired, but like there's monsters in the story. So that is about as much knowledge as I have about this book. This one I've been wanting to read for a while, and my friend read it, but she wasn't really a fan of it. That did not deter me, however, and she wanted to get rid of the book, so I was like, I'm gonna have that, please, thank you. And that is how this came into my possession. Next up on the stack is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I absolutely love this cover. I am obsessed. We're talking obsession with this cover. And this is the Bookish Box edition, I believe, and it has like an alternative cover, which I'm just gonna show you because it looks really good. But here's the alternative cover, which is very beautiful as well. But yeah, this book, so I read another book by Margaret Rogerson, The Sorcery of Thorns, or just Sorcery of Thorns, and let me tell you, I did not like it because it felt very amateur. But this one sounds fantastic. I believe it has something to do with nuns or like a convent, and like they fight monsters or something like that. Do not take my word for it though. And I do believe the main character is asexual, which we gotta see the rep. We love the rep. And I want to see how asexuality is represented here, and know nothing more about the book aside from that. Still excited. I'm always excited about all the books on my shelves, the one that I have read and the ones that I haven't read. Equally excited about all of them because I always want to read. If I could have like 10 pairs of eyes and read 10 separate books with each pair of eyes and keep track of the stories, I would do it. I would do it, but alas, I only have one pair. So, one book at a time. Well, not really, but one book at a specific time. You get what I mean. Since I mentioned Bookish Box books, I will mention the two other ones that I've acquired from Bookish Box. One of them is these Feathered Flames by Alexandra Ovary. This one, I believe it has something to do maybe with phoenixes. Not sure about that bit though, but I know it's like Russian folklore inspired, and that definitely ticks some boxes for me. I am definitely very much interested in like Russian folklore books and stuff like that, because you may not know, but I grew up in like post-Soviet a post-Soviet country, and like the whole Russian culture thing is like very close to my heart, and it just gives me nostalgia and stuff. So definitely something I want to read more about. So definitely want to read this one. I believe sequel's coming out soon, so looking forward to that, even though I haven't read the first book. And the third book from the bookish box that I have here is these Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan, and this is the US edition. I actually despise the UK cover, and this one's gorgeous. So yeah, absolutely have no idea what this is about. I just know that people are saying, well, not people, but basically it's marketed as The Cruel Prince meets Akatar. So it has like phase and there's like a love triangle or something, maybe. I don't know, but want to read it. I remember when I read the synopsis for this, I don't remember what the synopsis says, classic, but I remember that I was like, that sounds amazing. Yes, ma'am, please, thank you. I want to read that. So I want to read this. Next up, I have Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross. And again, this cover is absolutely beautiful. It just embodies so many elements that I love. You can't really see it because of the light, but oh well. So again, I have not a single clue what this is about. Like, not even a shred of clues. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Still want to read it though. Couldn't tell you why. I don't know. It just speaks to me. Not sure. But I want to read it. I have a copy. I might read it soon because it's a standalone, I believe, and I have the audiobook, so I'm thinking I could listen to the audiobook while at work. Maybe. I don't know. We shall see. It's pretty high on my TBR though, so might get to this sooner rather than later. Next up, I have some books from Illumicrate. The first one on the Illumicrate stack is Iron Widow by Shiran J. Zhao. I feel like I might have hauled this before, but I'm not sure. If I have, I'm hauling it again because I have not the greatest memory. So yeah, Iron Widow. I believe this is again either a duology or maybe like a trilogy. I'm not sure. All I know about this is that there's something to do with pilots, and there's maybe like an enemies to lovers, or like I know there's the enemy part, but I'm not sure about the lovers part. And essentially pilots go and fight off monsters to protect the city or something, and like there's always a man and a woman paired as a co-pilots or something, and something happens, something like that. I don't know, that is the worst synopsis ever, but I don't know, I feel like the plot is like kind of complicated. I don't know, I got confused when I read it the first time, as far as I remember, but it does sound pretty unique, and it kind of reminds me of that movie The Great Wall of China with Matt Damon in it. I don't know, it kind of gives me that kind of vibe. So it's basically mecha slash fighting something set in a Chinese inspired fantasy world, something like that. The next Illumicrate book I have here is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marskett, and I'm just gonna hold it like this because that is blinding. Well, not really, but yeah, this book, let me just say that this book is stunning. It's absolutely breathtaking. Look at those edges. Like, hello, excuse me, ma'am, you look beautiful. I frankly don't know much about this. I know it's set in like maybe Victorian London or like something Regency England, and it's gay and we're here for it. And aside from that, I know nothing, but it looks cool, sounds cool, I'm down for it. Next up, I have some Fairy Loot books, and the first one on the Fairy Loot stack is Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. This is the January book, I believe, so this is like my most recent acquirement, and not crazy about the cover, to be honest, but what to do. So I'm not sure what this book is about. Let's just leave it at that. I have no idea what this is about, but I sure as hell want to read it. And that's pretty much how my life works. Next up from Fairy Loot, I have a couple of sequels. So the first one is Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. So here it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. The edges are blowing me away every single time I look at them. Don't know what this is about, but I sure as heck want to read it. I'm not gonna read it until the third book comes out because I hate waiting for sequels to come out, because by the time they do, I forget what happens in the book. I tend to like wait until the entire series is out or like almost out, and then I read a series. And same thing applies for this sequel. I haven't read the first one, but I have acquired the sequel, and that one is Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. This, I know what it's about a little bit. So I know it's like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but set in Shanghai. So that's the best I can do. Don't know anything else about it, but I'm excited to read it. I think I don't have any more books I've acquired from book boxes, so just let's move on to random books I've purchased in random places. So one of them is The Raven and the Rush by Sarah M. Craddock, and let me tell you, this was the most impulsive purchase I have ever made in my entire life, because I have not a shred of a clue what this is about. I couldn't tell you. Clearly it's fantasy, but aside from that, no idea. And the reason I have purchased this is, wait for it, let me show you. Hello, ma'am. Like, excuse me, look at this beauty. This is a beauty, a work of art. It has all of my favorite colors. It's green and blue and some pink in there, and like, this is stunning. Even if I never read this in my entire life, I will probably keep it because it's so goddamn beautiful. Even if I hate it, I'm still gonna keep it because I like pretty things. So yeah, this is the first book in a series that's like still ongoing. I think this was like actually recently released, so I don't know how many books in the series there are gonna be and when they're gonna come out, and I'm not gonna read it anytime soon. And that's okay. That is okay. But yeah, I don't even know what to tell you. I have issues. I'm gonna keep saying that until forever, because they are there. It's true. I'm not saying lies. The next book I have here is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, and if you didn't know, that is my name. That is my full name, and I just go by Aria because it's easier for people to pronounce, apparently, because no one ever says my name correctly. Yes. So I got this book. It's clearly inspired by the mythology, the Greek mythology to be specific, and don't need to know any more than that. I kind of know the mythology, and I love reading books inspired by Greek mythologies. So this is one I had to have in my repertoire, and the cover is stunning. So why shouldn't I have a book about a theme that I like with my name? Like, it is my name. So yes, looks pretty cool to me, sounds cool, it is cool. So I just had to have it, you know? I had to have it. Another one I have here that I've been meaning to read for ages is Blood Countess by Lana Popovic, and this is essentially inspired by the Blood Countess, who I do believe is like a historical figure. Like, I think she was real, and it's essentially about this countess who was super rich, and she essentially killed virgins. I'm not sure about the virgin part, but she killed younger women essentially and bathed in their blood because she believed that that will keep her youthful and pretty forever, or like it's gonna make her live forever or something like that. It's not really vampire related, but it gives me like vampire vibes, and definitely want to read a story about this particular historical figure. I don't know. I'm excited to read it. It's short. It looks cool. It pleases my aesthetics, is something I enjoy reading about. Bloody stuff, killing, historical castle. What can go wrong, you know? Next up, I have The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. I think that's how you say the name. So this book is a horror book, and my attitude towards horror books is that the less you know, the better. So essentially, I know nothing about this. That's it. I just know it's horror. It's kind of like more well known, I think. I don't know. I'm not even sure, but I've heard some good things. It has good ratings, and I don't know, something about it just speaks to me. So I want to read it, and whenever I do, I hope I like it. I've been getting more into horror books, which I'm not mad about because I love horror movies, but like I just never read many horror books. But in the past year, I've read some horror, and I'm gonna keep reading it because it's cool. I have been talking for so long that my mouth got dry, and I'm gonna take a sip of water. Much better. The next two books I have here have a bit of a story behind them. It's not very interesting, but I will tell you nonetheless. The books that I have here are books 2 and 3 in the Ethereal Tales trilogy, and they're both by Frida Warrington. So book 2 is called Midsummer Night, and I absolutely love the covers of these. So here is cover number 1. They even do give you that like ethereal aesthetic vibe. And then we have book number 3, which is called Grail of the Summer Stars. And like, excuse me, but this cover, have you seen more intricate artwork? Like, what is that? I don't know what that is, but I'm interested. Essentially, the story with these is that one day I went to a charity shop, a book charity shop here in the UK that is called Oxfam, and they tend to stock like pretty good things. And I saw this like a random mass market paperback that just, I don't know, the cover spoke to me, and I looked it up. I saw that it was the first book in a series, so I was like, you know what? It's like super cheap. I'm just gonna get it. I don't know. I want to read more adult fantasy. I'm just gonna go for it, because why the hell not? I have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, I just get rid of it. The book that I'm talking about is the first book in this series, and that is Elfland. And do you see how tiny this is? The stark difference. So yeah, like I said, this is a mass market paperback, and recently I was like, you know what? Let me just try and find books 2 and 3 and whatever else is in this series. And I have searched high and low, left and right through the internets, and I could not for the life of me find mass market paperbacks for the sequels. Well, technically the second book has a mass market paperback, but the third book doesn't. So the thing is, it never came out in mass market paperback. And I'm very annoyed because I wanted to own these in mass market paperbacks because look at them. They're so cute and tiny, and I don't know, there's something about mass market paperbacks that I love. They're just so small and adorable. I don't know. I couldn't really tell you why, but I just like them. So I go onto Abe Books, and it says that these two, they're soft cover, right? Which means paperback. And I was like, yes, I found it. So I ordered them. And when they finally arrive, I'm like, this is not a soft cover. They essentially sent me like the library bindings of 2 and 3. And yeah, I actually reached out to the author in regards to whether there is a paperback of the third book, and if there isn't, is there ever going to be one? And apparently book number 3 never came out in paperback, which I'm very upset about. So now I have two options. I get rid of this and get it in hardback so I have like a matching set, or I just get rid of these two and have just books 1 and 2 in mass market and just never own the third one and just like read it from the library or something, because I don't want them in hardback because they just take up so much space, and it's space that I do not have clearly. And yeah, that is the end of the story, and I'm just bitter about it and I don't know what to do. But yeah, I'll probably just get them all 3 in hardback, but why must life be so cruel? This is like first world problems. Like, just white people problems. Next up, I have 2 editions of the same book because I am what? A person with problems. So the book that I'm talking about is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. Now, have I read the first one? Absolutely not. Did I buy the second one? And more specifically, 2 editions of the second one? Yes, I did, and I have no regrets about it. So this one is the Waterstones exclusive. It just has like an exclusive chapter, and it doesn't have the sprayed edges, which I'm bitter about. And the other edition is the tour edition, and I'm very excited to have this, and it's gonna match with the first book. And yeah, that's it. I don't know what this is about because I don't want to know. I will find out when I read them. I don't know when that's gonna be because with Sarah J. Maas's books, I want to read them like chronologically, the series that she's published. So I've made my way through Throne of Glass. I've finished that, and I will at some point this year start ACOTAR. And whenever I finish or catch up with that, that's when I will read Crescent City, and that might take a while. So it is what it is. But I am nothing if I am not a book collector, which means buying a ridiculous amount of books and a ridiculous amount of editions of the same book because they look pretty. And lastly, I have a small stack, well, small-ish stack of some paperback books. Some of them I have no idea what they're about. Some I sort of do, maybe. So the first one on the stack is You Exist Too Much by Zaina or Zaina Arafat. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. And this is a very short book. I think it's literary fiction or just contemporary, and I'm not entirely sure what it's about. In fact, I have no idea what it's about, but I know it has like feminist themes because this I got from like a feminist book subscription box that just gives you normal paperbacks of books with feminist themes. So this is one of them. I've actually had this on my Goodreads for ages. So I was like, you know what? I will read this someday. I'm just gonna keep it. Next one I have is Detransition Baby by Tory Peters. In this story, in this Own Voices story, we essentially follow a trans woman who essentially decides to detransition back to being a cis man, and we follow his story, and essentially it has to do with relationships and motherhood and families and fatherhood as well, and just complicated life things. I don't, something like that. It's a contemporary, its own voices. I've been wanting to read this for a very long while, well, actually since it came out, but it just came out in paperback and I got myself a copy. So I very much want to read this. Very excited. Next up, I have The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Sort of similar story with this one, where I've been wanting to read this for a really long while and I just wanted it in paperback and it just came out. So gonna get to this soon enough. I essentially don't even remember what this is about anymore. It kind of gives me witchy vibes, and I know there's something to do with like women helping other women in like a historical setting, to do with like poisons and like potions or something like that, something apothecary related. And yeah, not sure what else this is about. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I remember, so that's what I'm gonna tell you. Next up, I have The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez, and this book I actually recently saw in a video from Books with Chloe, and she mentioned in the video that Mariana Enriquez is supposedly the queen of horror. And as I said, I've been wanting to read more horror. So when I went into the bookshop and just saw this laying around, I was like, yes, I am getting that. So here we are. I got it. And yeah, I know that this is essentially like a short story collection of like very creepy, spooky horror books. So books, not books, stories. So yeah, more horror, not complaining. Definitely want to see what this author is about and how actually scary they are. Next up, I have two sequels that I have no idea what they're about, and they're sequels to books I haven't read. So one of them is The Gifts That Bind Us by Caroline O'Donoghue, and this is the sequel to These Hidden Gifts, I believe, and it's something to do with a girl who has a tarot deck, and suddenly she finds out that whatever reading she does, it becomes true. So like there's some magical realism things going on, and it has to do with tarot decks, and I'm all about that. So curious to see what the story is and if I like it. And the other sequel is The God of Lost Words by A.J. Hackwith, and this is the third book to the Library of the Unwritten. And all I know about this is that it's essentially about a library in hell. That's all I know. That's it. So very much intrigued about this concept, and I might actually get to the series now that I have the last book in the series. So now we are down to the last three books, folks. The last three books. Let me tell you, my back aches and my throat hurts and I'm thirsty again. So let's just get through them. The next book I have here is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynn. This is the first book in an epic trilogy, apparently, and I have no idea what it's about. None whatsoever. But I do want to read some John Gwynn. I haven't read a single book by him, and I kind of got this one on a whim, even though I want to read his other series first before I get into this. And this is like the first book in the series, and the second is not even out yet. So, want to read his other series first. I think it's called, well, the first book is called Malice, I think. Not sure, but they're quite well known. Definitely want to read from this author. I know he's supposed to write like super cool high fantasy. So I love high fantasy. I will read almost any high fantasy out there if I have the time for it. Second to last book is King of Battle and Blood by Scarlet St. Clair, and this is the first book in a new series by Scarlet St. Clair. I have read the first book in her other series, Hades and Persephone, so that book is called, what's it called? A Touch of Darkness. So I've read that one, I liked it, but I haven't continued for no particular reason, but I do want to continue, and she recently came out with this one, which is a new series. Definitely want to read this book because it's like vampires, and I believe there's like an arranged marriage thing, so definitely interested in this. It's supposed to be on the smuttier side, and I will shamelessly say that I enjoy that. So definitely want to read smut vampires, because what else is there in the world to live for? And we are finally down to the last book. The last book in this huge haul. That book is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. As I've mentioned in my past videos, I want to read every single book by Christina Henry, and I shall do so. And this is just another one that I believe recently came out in paperback, so I acquired it because I want to read it, because I want to read all of her books. And that's it. I frankly have no idea what this is about, but I think it has to do something with rabid dogs, maybe? Crazy, scary dogs? I don't know, but that looks like a dog to me. Probably gonna love this. We shall see when I get to it. And that was all the books that I have acquired in the past months, mainly in 2022. So let's just say this is the first official book haul of 2022. I hope you have enjoyed me rambling continuously. Thank you very much for watching, and I will hopefully see you soon in another video, and I will probably have a different hair color in that video, so do expect that. But yeah, that was it. Thank you for watching, and see you in another one soon. Bye! I've read another book by Margaret Rogers. Yes. The Sorcerer. So, oh my fucking god, I cannot speak. These feathered Vlem. Yes. A must for me, like it ticks a box. Fucking hell.